Okay, so let's start with our small intro, and if people join us, well, they can join us as they are coming, so that that should not be a problem. Okay, so today me and Ali, we are a small startup from Estonia. We are a CyberWise.Space team. So first of all, a few words about us, and after that we continue with our TechTalk. It's actually a series of talks, and today we will be talking about cyber threats. But first of all, a few words about us. So let's start with Ali. Ali is our cybersecurity specialist. He is graduated from Caltech, and maybe Ali, you can tell a few words about yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Olga. I graduated from Caltech in a Master of Cybersecurity. I also have some degree in Malaysia and some other country. I'm working in this area for around 8 years, more in cybersecurity and administrating the system. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's very good. So we have some expertise in cybersecurity, and I'm Olga. I have background in law, and I also have background in healthcare technology, which is combination of healthcare and technologies. And my main focus is on privacy, specifically data privacy. So together with Ali, what we are actually doing and what our startup, our company is doing, is that we are trying to make cybersecurity and privacy as something that that is accessible for everyone. So it's not something that you need to consider either you should be cyber secure or not, because if you are in technology, if you are using websites, if you're using social media, if you have a business that is running online, it's very important that that you are following cybersecurity rules, and we are providing different consultations for companies, smaller size, bigger size, and what we also learned that some people, they are not really much aware of cybersecurity before something happened to them. So our mission is also to bring awareness that cybersecurity is not selective at the moment. It's like cyber hygiene is like a regular hygiene, because when you wake up in the morning, you're not thinking about should I brush my teeth today or not. You just know that, well, that's something that you need to do, and with cybersecurity it's the same, that you need to protect your assets. You need to think about what you have and how to protect it, and that's our topic for today. We will in general discuss cyber threats. What are they? What are they in internet? How to detect them, because there might be the case where you can be facing those threats, but you actually don't know about them. We will also talk about how to protect, like after you detect, how you will protect yourself. So can you do something with them? And also we will talk about mitigation. So the idea of mitigation is if something happened and how you will react on that. But yeah, more in each of this section. So we can start, and Ali can tell a bit more about cybersecurity in general. So maybe we can proceed with our talk.
Yeah, thank you. Olga gave a very intuitive introduction to the cybersecurity. It's like it has been there forever. Like since the computer started, cybersecurity also started. You can't run away from it, and the attackers are getting more and more stronger. So it's a matter of the we building more higher and higher walls so they can't jump over it, or we make ourselves stronger to fight against them. So it's a very broad area, and it exists in everywhere, as Olga bring this amazing example of hygiene. So it's, you can't run away from it. It's in part of your life, daily life.
Yeah, so what we also wanted to point out that cybersecurity is not only for big companies, as it maybe there is like a stereotype that if you have a big company, well, of course you have bigger assets, and you will need to have like a bigger protection for this. But still, if you're having small business, it doesn't mean that your business is not interesting to attackers. It still is, and actually, because of lower protection for the small businesses, it means that attackers have a much higher probability to actually get something from it. So our point here is that either you are from big business or small business or medium business, you still need to keep in mind that cybersecurity measures needs to be applied, and today we will discuss what kind of measures you need to apply. We also wanted to bring up one example. We will discuss what can be done on this example. That let's assume that there is one person who is running the business. Let's say its business is divided into two parts. So the person works as a psychologist, which means that this person has let's call this person Joe. It's he or she, like this person. So Joe has some patients and collects information about those patients. They have records of the sessions, which is healthcare information, very sensitive information. So that's important to keep in mind what kind of information is that. And the other thing, what Joe is doing is also have a social media, have a website, so where it can be posted to some general information about lifestyle, about how to handle the stress, how to live healthy, how to eat healthy. So more like a general recommendation, which are not specifically for each person. So on this example, we would like to discuss some of the risks and how they can be mitigated. So we will meet with Joe in our session. Like virtually. Yeah. So we can start with our first part of our talk, which is detection. So as you can know, that detection is might be pretty challenging, and the reason is that sometimes attack is happening, but we don't know about it. So some of them are pretty obvious. If you receive something like ransomware, well, you will see your on your screen that it's locked and you cannot do anything. But in some cases, if you have a website or if you have email server and something might be happening on the background and you may not know about this, and we discussed it with Ali, and he mentioned that that's one of the main risks, that if something is happening and you don't know about that. So Ali, could you elaborate on that, like about this kind of threats?
Yeah, as you said, having no knowledge is the biggest threat to our system, or our it shouldn't be a system. So this Joe, you said, he has a two side of the life, as a business and as a personal. So it can be only business, it can be everywhere. But the question is, do you know that the attacker even the plant virus in your system? Do you know them? Have you ever detected them? Do you monitor your system, or do you have any auditing things? Let's go through the example of the Joe. So if you have a small business and you probably have one website and you store some of your data in a Google Drive, I don't know, iCloud, Dropbox, or somewhere, one of these cloud services on the internet. So data goes there and you have one small website. But have you ever checked your security setting on website? Did the email, the security email has been changed? Or did the login information has been checked? Or have you checked your data are intact inside this Google Drive or this whatever drive system you use? So the key answer to all of these questions is that you need to check or monitor or audit the procedure that you have and to detect malicious activity instantly. So this is the key point. We have a couple of real examples that we are aware of, but of course we can't reveal the company information. But let's say an anonymous company email server got hacked, so the attacker was managed to send the email through their mail server to the other people, but not one email, thousands and hundreds of emails keep going. And if they didn't have any monitoring setup in place, so they will screwed, like the business is gone in a second, so your reputation is gone. So it's very crucial if you think of your brand, your name, or even if you don't care about the data, you need to think about your name and your reputation. But
yeah, so basically in this situation, it looks like your receivers receive an email not from the attacker, but actually receive them from you, and also they can send those emails to your clients, which actually looks pretty bad. Because if you if attackers start sending something from your name, that's really bad, damaging of your reputation indeed.
Yeah, like spoofing your identity as a thing.
Yeah.
That was disaster, but fortunately they had they were checking their mail server reputation and they could block it like in a few hours, so the damage was not that much high. I also have a couple of more examples in my mind, like have you most of the people running on this CMS thingy, WordPress, Joomla, or these common Wish, these common things, and most of the people running their website on these things, but sometimes the attacker can manage to log in, change the password, and then starting blackmailing you. Like, I will post this thing on your blog if you don't pay me. So it's like catastrophic for a person and your blog or your reputation. So it's very, very important or crucial to check your security setting often, like time to time. It depends on the case.
So basically, you're saying that if Joe has a website, simple website with like post information running on WordPress, that someone can just log in. How is it possible? Does it mean that they have some weak passwords, or how it happens?
Very good question. So, you know, the software is a growing thing. It's like a plant. It keeps growing. So you need to always running on the latest version of the software. In this case, like WordPress or website. Because there might be some security vulnerability in a previous version that the attacker could log into this. Or password is also very key point, because password in most cases is our first defensive layer. So if you picking very guessable password, less than 10 character, or using very only digits, so it's very easy to get hacked or attacker can log in.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Like someone can log in to website, basically do anything. Yeah. So what we can do to protect WordPress is, first of all, WordPress and other systems, basically, that, well, latest update, secure password. I think that's like to sum up what like the smallest measures that we need to have. Okay, so let's think about how often do we need to take a look if there are any changes, because, well, let's say Joe is mostly focusing on posting information. Well, let's say cybersecurity is not their main concern, but still should be a concern. But let's say how often they need to take a look, because it doesn't seem like something that they will run on a daily basis, like to checking website line by line if it's good, and if this process can be somehow automated. So what can be done to make Joe's life easier?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you said, manually is a very painful process, especially for a person that it's not his job as a IT or cybersecurity to check all of these things. So, but there are tools out there to automate these things. But again, using those tools need a knowledge and a skill. So again, people need to spend the time to understand it. But you can also use the third-party system that you hire them and they run these tools and automation on your system to understand what's going on in the system. But for a period of time or frequent it, I would say, so there is no time limit. So as soon as you detect it, you need to block it. But as you said, the manually is very kind of impossible to detect it instantly. That's why we need to plant enough monitoring system and nodes to understand what's going on inside the system and get alert instantly.
Mm-hmm. So what Joe can learn from this, that they can use some automated system, and well, there are, well, at least I see two options how those systems can be implemented. First, that when Joe is going to the internet and try to find something and install it by herself or himself, or otherwise that they will contact someone who, like some IT expert that will help with setting up, and this is some kind of service that is provided, but many cybersecurity companies, basically from our team, we also can provide the service where we try to make cybersecurity easier for other people. So if they don't know much about cybersecurity, but they still need to have the system protected, and they don't want to put much efforts to think about how to work with them, we can just help them with installation and help with how it will work, and like to check if it's all good and all protected. So that would be also quite a good solution for Joe to make sure that the system is running smoothly and there are no cybersecurity risks and everything is fine. What about some bigger systems? Like there is also one interesting thing, like about penetration testing, and I think that this is also something that is considered to be for big companies. But is it something that can be applied for maybe small or medium companies, considering their size? So let's say, of course, for big companies, the scope would be much bigger, but what penetration testing, well, what is penetration testing? What is the aim? Maybe you can say a few words and how it can be also useful for the company.
Mm-hmm. So in a simple word, if I want to define the penetration testing is put yourself as an attacker and trying to find the open doors in your system. So it doesn't matter it's a massive company or very small company or even a private person. Penetration testing, of course, for a bigger company, it will be more extensive, checking a lot of things, application code, what's going on inside your firewall network and rest of the things. But as an individual or a small company, penetration testing is also applicable because still, as you said, there are so many important things that you don't think is they are important, but they are sitting there and you need to be checked if they are available online or not by a unauthorized person, I would call, or aka hacker or attacker.
So basically, if you did penetration testing, so as a result, person can receive some kind of like points where the system can be attacked.
Exactly.
Yeah. So why it's needed? It's basically it's needed to know that like if you imagine it as a house, that you know that attacker can come from your window or attacker can come from your door. So you need to know that you need to secure your door and you need to lock your window, just not to leave it open and say like hello attackers, just come here. Yeah, so that's a really good and useful point. Yeah, to think to have this attacker's mind to think about how it can be done. Okay, so let's talk a bit about protection. So we know that yes, attacks are coming, and it's possible to have a situation when attack is actually happening. So what can we do with this? What can we do to protect the system? Any tips?
Well, there are many of them. So now we understand, we detect the attack, but we need to have our defensive layer set up. It's like, if you think about the medieval time, it's a door, it's a water, it's a fire coming from the sky. So you need to always have this protection set up. The usual things, as we mentioned, is make sure your website is always running on the latest version. If you have a website that has some form or login page or something like people can write a comment or whatever, anything that user can interact with your website, make sure you synthesize the input, because the attacker can go through to your system through this point. So these are like a weak point. Another thing is using HTTPS. HTTPS is securing your connection, so you are not communicating with your user through the clear text. So you are encrypting and make sure that no one except both of you are sitting there and listening to your communication. Still in 2022, I still see some websites that are not running on HTTPS. It's awful. I don't know why they are doing it.
I would say there are pretty many of them.
Yeah, there are pretty many of them. Like,
unfortunately, I was also quite surprised with this stuff, like how it's even possible. But yes,
yeah,
that's the way.
Yeah. The another thing we were mentioning was where you store the data. Usually, even for a medium business, these cloud services are selected. It's a Microsoft Cloud or Google Cloud. These are very popular because the amazing planning and those stuff. But what the issue is that people are recycling their password. They're using the password everywhere, same password everywhere. So just think that your password in one of the website got leaked, and now this is the same password to your Google Drive. So now the attacker can log into your Google Drive. So the solution that I'm proposing is using two-factor or n-factor actually authentication. So two-factor authentication means that you're using another device or another method of authentication rather than the password only. There are n-factor authentication also in the movies. You might see that the guy put the fingerprint, then I don't know, then voice. So these are like n-factor authentications.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
But it also depends what kind of access do you need to have, because like if it's sensitive information and very this information that requires a lot of protection, we definitely need to think about something that is much stronger than a password, so that will be like n factor, so we can use multiple of them, more than two actually, because I think that two is bare minimum that will allow enough protection. No.
Yeah, nowadays two is a minimum. I think many people already face this n factor. So when you log into your Gmail, you key in your password. It's a first. Then you key in your SMS code that you receive. Then you need also confirm from your phone so that you log in. So it's a third factor authentication. But yeah, so there are many of them sitting around. We talked about the password. Password also is one of the crucial things because this is one of the basic and the most important. So it's like very funny balance. So it's very easy, but it's very important. Make sure to have a strong password. And I want people know mostly about password, but I wanted to keep pointing out how to store password or how to share the password. I've seen like say, Olga, this is my website, can you please log in? This is my password and username in Facebook Messenger. Very easy platform. So you just revealed your information with everyone. So that's the thing. Make sure to use one-time notes for sharing the password. There are so many services out there in the internet. And another things I see people storing their password in their desktop or writing on a pen and paper sticky note on the then what's the point of password? Like when you're sharing
exactly.
So make sure you have password management softwares to collect the passwords. Yeah, I have a couple of more things, like make sure when you are in an unattended computer, like in a cafe or in a lobby or wherever, to remove everything and if possible use VPN, and also have your antivirus setup. It's very trivial. People just keep skipping it and say that no, virus is not catching me. It's one of the very trivial defense and one of the most effective. But you need to have a trusted and working antivirus, not the expired, out of date database and those things. They are not helping it. But yeah, what else, Olga, you are thinking about?
Yeah, but we've also wanted to bring up is social engineering, because you can have a perfect setup, perfect technical setup. You can have multiple levels of authentication and everything will be just fine. But let's say if you're clicking some emails with random links that have that can bring some viruses to your computer. They can install third-party programs that can basically like ruin everything. So that's very important. Or if you're just sharing some personal information, that's also kind of part of social engineering. Basically, that's like finding a weakness, not in technical side of the company, but in people. And it's often said that that's like the biggest part of the chain that people can just like trust. And when we are talking about some phishing emails, some of them are pretty obvious that, well, you know that that's a scammer writing to you, but some of them are actually quite personalized, and there is also a term it's called whaling, and it's when you're like head of the company and you receive some personalized emails, like for instance to attend conference. It can be quite relevant to you because you might be a researcher and you might attend different conferences. So, or like that your article was accepted, and it's pretty easy also to understand that, well, yeah, that looks like something relevant to me. And if you did not put enough attention, that it's actually not the regular email that you are expecting, that it's very easy to get caught to this stuff. Yeah.
This adding something to this phishing email, sometimes it gets very hard to identify either is a phishing or things. I also seen some bounty emails, but they are again phishing you. So the guy emailing you and say that, oh, I have found some thing from your website, and it might be drop some clue, but this is also kind of calling the bounty phishing email. So they trying to attract your attention. Oh my God, my website got hacked, and then they scam you or trying to blackmail you with whatever method they have.
Yeah, for this reason, what we can say is that make sure that who are you talking about, who are you sharing information with, and if you need some cybersecurity protection, also make sure that you're contacting proper cybersecurity company. Because if someone who's texting you and says that, well, you have something on your website, it's that's might not be legit. So just beware of this kind of things. And also, I think that we had the last point we wanted to discuss is DDoS attack, and maybe a few words about what is DDoS and why it's important to know about it.
Yeah. So let's get more technical. So usually this DDoS might not happen to the very, very small business or individual, but DDoS is a denial of service, as you can see from this graphic. So the attacker is trying to block the access of the legitimate user from your website by sending a lot of traffic from multiple sources. So that's a distributed denial of service. So they're trying to block the service. But I can recommend if you can use some DDoS protection. So it's not something very hard. At the first step, you can only use the Cloudflare system. So they have a very amazing DDoS protection system, and it's free. So basically, you transfer your website through the Cloudflare. You might see also in some website, when you're going, it's saying that transferring to the website, and there is a Cloudflare logo. Some dots are. So that's a DDoS protection. Or if you have more technical capability, you can enable some rate limit in your firewall or in your site. So, for example, the attacker, if a person send more than 100 traffic in a 30 second, you block him for a 10 minute. So it's what's called rate limiting. But some other technical things I can suggest. So make sure you have geography blocking. So if you are serving in a European Union, there is no need someone from Argentina or I don't know Ecuador creating account in your system. So it's not your target customer. So know your target customer and make sure you have these things set up. And block unrelevant port and IP on your system. There is no point that everyone knows that you are running this. If you are only servicing the website port only should be opened, not the rest of the things.
Okay, so basically, if we are coming back to Joe and Joe's website, so it means that if this person is and their business is facing DDoS attack, it means that the web page might not be available for users for some time if this attack is happening, and the reason is that basically the different bots are actually like targeted and sending requests to the server, and server just cannot handle it. So for Joe, it means that if this website needs to be running all the time, and that's the idea of the website, that it can be accessible at any time. First of all, it means that it's not available for customers, so it's loss for businesses. So something to keep in mind. Yeah. So I think that we discussed all points from our protect part, and we have last part about mitigation. So about mitigation, our final part, and what we wanted to discuss here is 2 points: as vulnerability assessment. So what is vulnerable in your system, your website, and like different assets, and also recovery plan, because we know that no system can be 100% protected, and of course we can make them more secure, but we cannot make them like absolutely secure. So still there might be cases where something is happening, but we need to react, and we need to have a plan for that. So Ari, can you tell us about vulnerabilities and recovery plans? So what can we do from this side?
So yeah, as you said, you need to have a plan for if the incident happen. The incident can happen. There is no absolute security. There is no 100% of security, but you need to be prepared for that things. So one of the important or foundation of the things is a risk assessment for your business. Risk assessment, the name maybe looks scary, but it's very easy. Things like if you have a very small business, it's some website and data is maybe looks scary, but it's just what you have. It's a risk assessment for your assets. So you have a website, you have some data, you have some customer data, you have some your invoices, your accounting thing, your password. So these are your assets. And now you need to assessment of the risk of the. Basically, it's easy. I can suggest you draw one chart or one table. The row would be the how frequent or likelihood of this thing happen, and the column would be how much is a risk. And you fill this with your asset, your password, your customer data, your thing, and then you see what is important for you and what is not important for you there. Then you can implement more things. But Olga mentioned also this recovery plan, or I would call it this disaster recovery plan. So let's say you got hacked. So it can happen for everyone. Like it also not be also cybersecurity. You might lose your laptop and you stored your data there. So it can't be only cybersecurity. It can be you got fire on your laptop. So I don't know what happened. So disaster recovery plan is that you can recover from your business without a lot of impact on your reputation and your data. The simple thing is getting the backup, having the proper working secure backup. So remember, working proper backup. People usually take a backup, store it in the same computer. There is no point of that. So it's like, what? Why? So you need to copy your backup to another system. So I don't know, is it a pen drive, it's in your Google, or I don't know, whatever, wherever that you want. But you need to make sure that that place is also secure, or you have a secure backup. So no one cannot retrieve it and download your backup from there. You just say that you copy your customer data in a pen drive and leave it on your desk. That's it's better than not to have a backup rather than living on your desk and somewhere. So yeah, you need to have a secure and working backup. You need to have a restore plan to check if your backup is valid as well.
Absolutely, that's a very valuable point. That makes absolutely no sense to keep it all in one laptop, because if something happened, that your backup will not help you in any way. And also, what I wanted to say is that it's also important to know what kind of security measures we need to apply. Like in case of Joe, we have 2 parts of assets. Like if you're talking about this health data that is that belongs to other people. So Joe is processing a lot of sensitive data, and like losing this data would be a really big disaster. So especially if it's not encrypted, and let's say that Joe forgot the laptop that and data was stored there, and there is no password in the laptop, so anyone can just open and see data of their patients. So that would be that will have a really catastrophic impact on what Joe is doing. But when we are talking about some information that Joe is posting on website about lifestyle, it's still bad because it's still like the lifestyle and still part of business and still important. So we cannot say that, well, we can just neglect this information. Of course we should, but like the impact of this would be still a bit lower. So we need to think about, like, the first of all, that we need to think about the most valuable assets, and afterwards we need to think about protection, basically, like step by step. So the highest priority and the top security measures should be applied for the most sensitive information, especially information that has impact on other people, personal data and healthcare data. Yeah, so that's important to know.
Yeah, in a case of Joe, let's say Joe stored people data in his laptop. So if you put in that table, I said the laptop would be in the highest risk asset. So Joe need to always think about take care of the laptop. So how to deduct the risk of the laptop? So Joe has a copy in somewhere else, secure copy, so the risk of the laptop is going down, so losing the laptop. So it's just it's like a game. You need to think of the strategy that you are doing, or as Olga said, plan.
Yes, absolutely. You need to think about the system. Also, what we wanted to point out, that all those measures are working only if they are combined together. Because if you're thinking about like how to protect data, but you don't have a recovery plan in case if something is happening, that would be bad, because like if something actually happened, you have very limited time to recover from this, and you need to have contact. Like, first of all, you need to have an action plan, like what to do if you open your laptop and you understand that you're hacked. Some of your website is not running, or social media is not okay. You need to know what to do. You need to also know whom to call. Let's say you need to assess if you can handle it by yourself, or like have contacts from some few trusted cybersecurity companies that you can call day or night or weekends, and you will know that they will help you. They will like help you to manage it. Why I say 2-3 companies, because sometimes some companies might be also overwhelmed with work, but it actually would be very helpful. And also, like, we are trying to help our clients, of course, like as soon as possible, because we know that if something is happening, that you need to run your business, and you need to put the most efforts to fix the issue in the shortest time. So when you have it's like a puzzle. It can work only together. It's you have the 3 parts, maybe some more parts, but they can give the whole picture of cybersecurity only if they are connected to each other. Otherwise, it's just some random pieces, and it's not cybersecurity as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that we are actually right on time, and we have. Let me just check if we have some questions. We had one question before. before the call, before our webinar. So maybe we can start with this, and let's see if there are more questions coming. So just to let you know that you can post questions. Yeah, under this video, you can send it to us. You can also send it to us after webinar. We also try to respond them. But yes, I think that's actually the question that we got asked pretty often. It's about small business. So the question is, what is the recommendation for small business and where to start? That's a good question. Where to start? If you're running small business and let's say you're not cybersecurity expert, well, I assume that people are not cybersecurity experts. They are experts in their field of business. So what they can do?
I have a couple of suggestions for not cybersecurity expert or non-IT guy to run their small businesses securely. First thing is the things I just recently mentioned. You need to sit down and write down what is the most important thing for you there. What are the assets? What are the most important things you're having? It's data, it's your laptop, it's, I don't know, it's you even, it's your people. So, and then understanding what can happen to them. So, as Olga said, you have an action plan. You need to think about everything. This is like, it's not cybersecurity, it's like a disaster for everything. But if you want to have a more talking about more cybersecurity, I would highly recommend to always keep your website updated. Make sure you have two-factor authentication enabled on all of your business assets. It's a website, it's your email, it's whatever you are using. Don't share your password among the team. Make sure you're using the password management software. So basically this software, everybody connected to the software, and they can enjoy the sharing the password among them, and the password is secure in one place. Make sure you also get a backup time to time. As I said, proper working secure backup. So it should be stored somewhere else. And be ready for phishing emails. It doesn't matter how small you are or how big your company is. Phishing emails are always there. Of course, if you are using Google can block some of them, but as Olga said, if they are very targeted to you, you can maybe fall to their trap. So yeah.
Okay, thank you for answering the question. And then we have one more question. So the question is, dealing with DDoS is quite difficult. What are technical details of addressing them? So thank you for the question. Yeah.
Yes, dealing with DDoS is always like you can't evade from the DDoS. So DDoS can also happen in a different shape. Like sometimes it's just trying to send a request to your website, or trying to have a login brute force. So they keep trying to log into your website. One of the simple countermeasure, if you've seen that there are many requests coming from many IPs to your trying to log in, is enabling CAPTCHA for your login procedure. So it's a very easy countermeasure, and because they can't submit the data anymore. They need to pass the CAPTCHA. And also you can use the reputation system for what is coming on. There are some online databases out there that each IP has some reputation. So did this IP did something bad before or not good? So based on their score, you can let the people visit your website or not if the reputation is so low. I also would suggest to have this rate limiting on your either firewall or your web server level. So I gave an example of the post request. So if they're trying to send a post or get request or whatever request you are thinking, so think of the time frame and find your normal user behavior. So let's say your user clicking 100 things on 1 minute. So you have your baseline, and you can set 150 as a your limit, and if user go above that, the user got trapped, or the speed is limited, or whatever decision you want to make. I hope it answered the question, but there are many more. This is like I understand it's like there is no absolute way to things. Another thing is you have a using this CDN, or so if you are under attack on one geographical place, you can also your whole service is not on there. Like let's say Google has a different server around the planet. So if the Helsinki server is under attack, you can also get service from the Singapore server. So these are the very high and expensive for the big companies, right?
Yes, thank you for answering the question, Ali. At the moment, we don't have any more questions. So if you have any questions, please send them to us. We will be happy to answer. We have also a few more minutes. But meanwhile, I would just like to point out that in our Tech Talk, we try to talk about cybersecurity and different aspects of cybersecurity. We try to bring cybersecurity to everyone. So if you have any ideas or some suggestions what you would like to hear in our following Tech Talks, just write to us. We are super nice and friendly. And we are always trying to address those aspects that people are asking us about. We are having our Tech Talks in different levels. So we have some like more general, and if you're also interested in more technical, this is something that we are also thinking to provide. So if you are interested in this more technical topics, please write us what exactly you would like to hear. Also, we would like to say that we are planning to announce our self-assessment list for cybersecurity. So it will look like a document where you can go through specific and identified questions and points, and already by yourself or with some assistance, you can evaluate how good is your cybersecurity and how good you're following all those rules, how much you're protected. So we are planning to announce it in free version and in pro version. In free version, of course, there will be like there will be like more general information you can take a look, and also in pro version we will have more detailed suggestions. And yes, there is also the question like if any new products are expected from CyberWiseSpace in the future. So yes, that's one of the things that we are planning to do. We are also working on other solutions that we are planning to have some more webinars. They will be also related to cybersecurity and to privacy. And so what I wanted to say is that feel free to let us know what you would be interested in, because we are always trying to address the question of the market. So basically our audience and so we are very open to your suggestions. So, but at the moment, I think that the next one will be this self-assessment list that we are in social media. So you will make sure that you're subscribed for our updates, and we will post about that.
Yeah, this self-assessment, we are working on it, and as Olga said, it's gonna be in two separate package or version or whatever they're called. Basically, you go through it and you understand how secure or what you are missing. And if basically you give a score to yourself, like, and then you understand what you're missing. It's a very interesting thing for a small startup, individual, and sometimes for bigger teams that working on it.
Yeah, it actually addressed the first part of our talk today. Is it's like detect that you will understand where you're missing something, in which part of security you're missing something, and in this case you can address this. You can also do it by yourself if you feel that you have enough knowledge, enough time, and you need to put enough efforts that you feel like doing that. So that would be good. Otherwise, you can contact cybersecurity specialists. Like CyberWise team is always happy to help with these questions, and we are working with customers in different countries. So in Europe and outside Europe as well, we have clients. So we can help you to deal with that, basically. Yeah. So I think that at the moment we don't have any more questions. Let me just refresh just in case to see. Okay, yeah, so no more questions. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for questions. I think that we actually talked about everything that we have planned for today. We'll be happy to hear your feedback, and yeah, so thank you, and goodbye, and see you in our next webinars, our next talks. Make sure that you are subscribed to us. We are in Facebook, in LinkedIn, and in Instagram. So yeah, make sure that you're following us, and have a great day. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, stay safe and cyber secure.
Yes, indeed. Okay,
bye.